Peter Capaldi'S monologue from Doctor Who, the Zygon Inversion episode, was one of the most moving performances of the 3 seasons he was on it, and it moved me to tears, and it's one of the most inspiring pieces that is done. Now, there's of course a lot in this speech which is supposed to be a protest against war, and quite rightly so, but the purposes of this video is to try and interpret it in such a way that it's going to be beneficial and positive to your mental health. Greetings, my name is Nigel Mayo and this is my channel Salad Cream Boy. If you're finding me for the first time, this channel is devoted to the improvement of the mental state of its viewers, especially for those who have to deal with such things as anxiety and depression. So the point of this video is to analyse one of the greatest speeches that was delivered by Peter Capaldi as the Doctor in Doctor Who, the episode The Zygon Inversion, which I believe is in Series 9. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going to go through everything word by word, sentence by sentence, as that is honestly just going to take too long, and really there's just no point in it. What I am going to do is take the most substantial bits and then get the inspirational and the positive stuff that's going to benefit your mental health. However, before we get started, I just want to say that this speech is one of the big inspirations to the creation of this channel, and not only that, it's touched millions of lives all over the world. In fact, I've got a few testimonies from the fans. These are genuine testimonies which will be read out by not only myself but my lovely wife. Because I was being constantly bullied at school, it was really the only thing when I got back home that I could just truly escape to, and it's something I just could just shut my mind off and just get on with it. So, as I said earlier, what I'm going to be doing now is picking out the main highlights of the speech and also interpreting it in such a way that it's going to bring some inspiration, life lessons and some positivity, and hopefully this will be beneficial to your life and your mental well-being. So the first point here is that the Doctor is trying to get across that rebelling and fighting is not really doing anything at all, and all it's doing is just feeding the will and just keeping it going. The only way to break that will is to forgive those who have wronged you. Now, in terms of one's mental health, this is such a powerful message, and one of the ways that I'm going to interpret it is the way that it can actually apply to bullying. So one of the things about bullying is that, and you might not see this at the time being the one who's being bullied, that it might be coming from a place where they're actually having to deal with things themselves, and it might be an outlet for them that they might not know how to deal with their situation either. Of course, not that that makes it right at all, it just adds some context and it might be something worth thinking about for the future. In fact, who knows, they might be being bullied themselves, which means that they may be transferring that onto you. And the thing is, and I found this out myself in past situations, that it might be the case that they're bullying you for something that you may have done something to them that you're not even aware that you've done, and they've taken it in the wrong way, so that might have upset them, and they're just treating you accordingly to the way they want to react to it. Again, doesn't make it right, but there's usually a reason for it. So here are a couple of outcomes from this. You become angry and resentful in their behaviour and you shy away from it, or you rebel against it, and neither does any good, and honestly it just exacerbates the whole situation. And one of the things that could happen is that you take that pain and just lash out, and honestly it can turn you into a bully yourself without even realising it, which honestly I'm hoping is the last thing that you do. What the Doctor is suggesting in this case is a third route, and trust me, this is groundbreaking. So the thing that you might want to suggest is just forgive them. Now, I'm not necessarily saying be mightier than thou or just say the words I forgive you with not really any feeling behind it. This needs to be a sincere attempt at making amends. If the other person is willing to sit down and talk to you about it, what you need to do is explain to them what they've done and how it's hurt you, and do it in a nice, calm, civilized manner. And the thing is, even if you're not interested in even talking to them after this, all you really need to do is say, look, I'm not after an apology, I don't want you to try and make amends or anything. All I want to simply do is just tell you what you've done so that you learn from this and how it's made me feel. So hopefully something like this won't happen again. And of course, the big thing here is to let them say what they need to say as well, because it's not just a one-way show here. If there's anything that they need to say, and it might colour your interpretation of things, it's just good to not impose on anyone else anymore. Whether they've imposed on you in the past, and it's not a good idea to impose on them. It's just not a smart thing to do. And the thing is, after this discussion, it not only will improve things between your relationship, whether it be personal or professional, but it's also going to take a massive weight off of your shoulders. You won't need to worry about it anymore, and you'll feel so good for being a better person. Trust me, it really does do wonders for your soul. Okay, so justice might have been served. They may have been condemned for what they've done. They may have seen the wrong of what they've done. They might even be trying to make amends with you, even it may not look like it. My point is that the situation may have already been resolved, yet you're still trying to win. And the thing is, you may have already won, and that, honestly, right now at this point, it's actually the easier part of what's going on right now. The hardest parts is what's coming next. One of the hard parts, and I'll get to the other parts later on in this video, is to accept the win. So I'm going to give you an example of this on what I'm trying to say. There might be, for example, a bully at work, and they've got it across that you've said no, you've gone to your manager or sorted things out, yet you still have to work with them. Your sister's husband might have wronged you in some way in the past. He may not even know what it's about, but the justice has been done, but you still have to be nice when they come over for dinner. Or it could be the case that a customer at work has been so awful to you, but you still have to smile the next time that they come in, even though you don't ever want to see them for the rest of your life if you can help it. The point I'm trying to make here is that even though the trauma is over, even though the bad situation is over, you're still hurting. And the thing is, in life, the situation may still not be the situation that you're 100% okay with, but you still need to get on with it at some point. And I know, the biggest and the hardest thing to do is to get over the situation, forgive, not forget, but forgive, and to move on. Let it go. But the thing is, by letting go, by moving on, by forgiving, again, not necessarily forgetting, but by forgiving, you're able to move on, and it's going to do wonders for your mental state, and it will just get easier over time. Trust me, it really, really will. Not just saying it. In every unpleasant situation where there is conflict between two people and it's ongoing, it's always the same, just like war. Okay, no one's dying and you're not necessarily physically hurting anyone in a fight, but there's always, and I do mean always, going to be some sort of damage, whether it's going to be yourself or to others around you. When you go down the path of hating someone, or you're in a situation that has resolved itself yet you're still hurting and you're still holding on to that hate, your actions and your mindset is always going to reflect that, even if you're not aware of it. When you start down that path, you don't know how your friendships or your relationships are going to be affected by it. When it starts, you have no idea what's going to happen, who's going to be hurt, what's going to be lost. And I don't mean people's lives, and I don't mean screams, etc. from what the doctor was saying in his speech. I mean friendships, feelings. People are going to get hurt through this. You don't know what the consequences are when you start going down a route where you're just hating someone and not letting go of the situation. You don't know what's going to be affected, whether it be feelings, your mental health and the mental well-being of not only yourself but all the others who are going to be in the crossfire of all this tit for tat. And eventually what you're going to have to do, it's like what the doctor says, eventually someone is going to have to do what they're always going to have to do at the start anyway, sit down and talk. And you know what, that really is the most difficult thing from earlier too. If someone has hurt you or is still hurting you that badly that you don't want anything to do with them, the last thing on your mind is to sit down and calmly talk to them. And trust me, I know this firsthand. Go and have a look at my video series From Anxiety to Now, and I'll put a link in the description, and it goes through what I've gone through in my own life where I've been put in a situation where I wish I talked to the person way before, and it's put me in a situation where I've locked myself in my own room for years. And I'm not talking never come out, I mean whenever that person was over that house, I physically couldn't get out of that room. And that's the kind of consequences that you don't know what's going to happen when you start going through this path. And I've done this to the point that I was physically sick. So believe me when I say it, it will be the hardest thing in the world for you to do, but believe me, it really is so worth it just to sit down and talk at first in the long run. Nothing, and I do mean nothing worth having, ever comes easy. As I mentioned earlier, this speech is, believe it or not, one of the reasons I started this channel. And by doing this, I'm not trying to say that I've been through a lot more than most other people have. Far from it. In fact, I can think of a lot of people, and there are people in my own life who've had it far worse than I have, trust me. What I am trying to say, however, is that I have been in some really bad situations, and honestly, if I'm really being honest, I'm still going through some stuff now. My point is, why not use that? And that's what the doctor's trying to say in his speech. He's been through centuries of stuff, and what's he going to be doing? He's using that to help people. And this is the meaning I'm getting from when he says, so what do you do with all that pain? You hold it tight, and what do you say to it? You just say, okay, not on my watch. And I'm not trying to suggest that every single person watching this makes a YouTube channel or anything. I'm just saying that this is the way that I've chosen to help people. And I'm also not saying this in the context of a YouTube channel. There are loads of other ways that your past pain can help. You can use your past experiences as a parent, or to help your friends or your family where they're going in certain situations that they've never experienced before. And obviously if you've gone through it, even if you've not handled it well, at least you can tell them what might not be a good idea. So that leaves them way better equipped to handle their situations, and you're going to be giving them the tools to help their mental well-being. And the other things you can do is say, write a blog, Write a journal so that you can look back and reflect on things later in life if again you come across the same kind of situations. And it's something also to reflect on and, you know, look back on how things were then, and it might help other people if you just draw from that too. Again, it's not necessarily to show you what to do, but it's something to show you what mistakes you might be wanting to avoid. That way, there's even the smallest chance of the same thing not hurting you or anyone else again. And the thing is, even if you can't use this information to help yourself, at the very least, and I can tell you from my personal experience, it does wonders, it really does do wonders for the soul to know that you're making a positive difference to someone else's life. And the thing is, sometimes that's all you might need. Sometimes the only thing you can really do is be kind. Just that. Just kind. Right then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to know the results of the Doctor Who competition where you can win a £20 gift voucher from Amazon or the equivalent of whatever country you're living in, please tune into my live stream, my positivity live stream that's going to be coming on straight after this video. And when I say straight after, it'll be 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time in the UK. So all I gotta say now is, if you got any value from this content, please consider liking this video. If you want to have any further help and advice on improving your mental state, especially if you've got anxiety and depression, please consider subscribing to this channel. And if you have any comments, if you have any questions, if you have any feedback, please leave them in the comments below. It really does mean the world to me and your favourite content creators, because it all helps to support our channels and it helps grow them. Because, well, you know, it's like I always say, at the end of the day, it gets dark.